So then let's get it out on the road and see what it rides like.
So, first impressions, here we go. Well, I've just got straight off my Triumph 1200 Explorer and straight onto this CF Moto, and instantly I can tell I'm sitting higher on this. Now it is very windy today, so I'm hoping the sound comes out okay, certainly better than the last time. Instantly I can also tell the handlebars are quite close together, but not in a way that upsets me, only that it's thinner than the Triumph. But the Triumph after a while can be a little uncomfortable because they are quite wide. This actually feels really nicely spaced. It's quiet and it certainly feels smooth. The brakes, even though again they're brand new, very good. The gear lever seems to travel quite a way to change gear, but I'm in third now and certainly got enough torque to pull away. Well, I'm liking it so far. The initial view is pretty good. Mirror wise I can see very, very well indeed. Actually, I've got probably about 15% of the mirror I can see my arm, so that leaves the other 85% where I can see road. So I've got no complaints in that department. I'm going to put it in 6th, see what it does. 6th at 40 miles an hour, 2,500 RPM. The front suspension is a tiny bit bouncy, but it's smooth overall. I am being blown about by the wind, but it's not really moving me very much. So this is a good test of how the bike is stable in the wind. It's actually holding up really nicely. 6th gear, 40 miles an hour, 2,500 RPM. And it's very quiet, you can hardly hear it. Just going to adjust this mirror so I can see properly. Yeah, that's good. And the switch gears could be moved down a little bit, but that's just personal choice. Yeah, there is definitely quite a long travel on the gear lever, but it's positive. It goes into the gears quite easily. Got no worries about that. Let's see how this pulls away. Yeah, nice. It changes gear well. Again, to say, it may be a little bit of a long travel, but it's not a problem because it does change gear really well. Very smooth. It's not clunky. Tiny bit clunky, but nothing to write home about. So I'm just doing a few short bits here. Brand new tyres, not been worn in yet. Holds the road very nicely. No issues whatsoever. Now the screen is on a medium setting. Once we get up to a bit of speed, I should be able to tell how that is functioning, how easy to hold it. I mean, 30 miles an hour, 4th gear, feels like I should be in 3rd maybe. Yeah, 3rd feels better, 3,000 RPM, but then by the sound of the revs it wants me in 4th. It's not bad, not at all. The seat's very comfortable. The peg position is good. I've got a 90-degree-ish bend on my leg, and I don't have any worries about longevity of being uncomfortable. I do like the seat. It's very nice actually, very soft, very forgiving. I have to say you get a little bit of jolt from the front end suspension, but the dampening is adjustable here and I haven't touched that at this stage. It's actually a lot more comfortable than that NK TT version. That was, if anything, a little bit uncomfortable, whereas this sort of absorbs it nicely and the extra padding on the seat is good. Yeah, where are you going? Easy. Jesus Christ, mate. Stop halfway out in the road, then look. Fantastic idea. We'll stop up and get some petrol so we can do some miles. You got a lovely purr from this twin engine. Very nice indeed. And it's not jerky when you pull away, it's quite smooth. Changing gears pretty smooth. In a minute we'll go out and do some miles and some speed and see how it gets on there. Right, so just pulling out the petrol station here. I've just put £15 worth of fuel in and I'm full. Although I did see that I had probably another inch to go before I reached the stop on the petrol filler thingy. Right, so I'm just going to go out into the countryside and along some faster roads, and we will have a further discussion. So see you in a moment. So out into the country in a 30-mile-an-hour area. Now I want you to bear in mind that this bike rolled out of the crate yesterday, so it done 0 miles. I've now done 7 miles, so the tyres have also done no miles at all. So I can't be doing Larry speeds in corners and Larry speeds in acceleration, because I don't want to damage a brand new engine. But we are going to ride it well, shall we say. So coming up to the 60-mile-an-hour limit, I'm in 4th gear in sport mode, and it pulls and up to 60. That's not bad. I'm just going to test this in eco mode to see whether there's any difference. So 30 in 4th gear, and okay, a little bit less responsive. So the sport mode may be a tiny bit more responsive, but it's not anything to write home about. It's not like hitting a nitrous button. Just makes it a little bit more economical, I guess. But I shall just leave it in sport, because I believe that's where every bike should be, unless of course you're riding sensibly. Right, well, corner in, corner out, brand new tyres, as I say, holding the road very nicely indeed, very smooth, no dramas, no worries about overshooting. Oh yes, I'm impressed with this. Very nice ride, taking the bumps very well, suspension coming into its own now, and the seat is absorbing brilliantly. Very pleased actually with that. Oh, such ease round the corners. There's a massive wind, crosswind today. But yeah, at 60 miles an hour in 6th gear, 4,000 RPM. In eco mode, 4,000 RPM. Makes no difference. So just a little bit extra special ability to go a tiny bit quicker in sport mode on acceleration. Leave it in sport. I do have one complaint, and that is the dash. Unfortunately, it is set up for America or Europe and Asia, not the UK, because if it's in kilometers an hour, you get Celsius, engine temperature that is. If it's in miles per hour, it's Fahrenheit. Well, us in the UK, have centigrade or Celsius and miles per hour. Where's our bit? No dramas whatsoever. Very easy to take the corners. Lovely. So what I'll do now is I'll just take it onto the dual carriageway and get up to dual carriageway and motorway type speeds and see how it fares. Is he going to let me out? Yep. I'll wait for him to get past. Then we'll go around the roundabout and up the other side. I'm already in 6th. That's the only thing about it being quiet. You can't really hear what gear you're in, especially if you're not looking at the rev counter and the dash. It's my silly fault, that is. So take this roundabout in 3rd, shall we? See how that fares. Nice smooth roundabout. Yeah, as I say, new tyres, but I can still lean it over quite nicely. Takes it very, very well. And then power on. Here we go. Yeah, up to speed, and there we are. Easy. Very nice. I like that. So cruising along here at 70 miles an hour on a relatively smooth road, however smooth British roads can actually be. Holds its own quite nicely. 70 miles an hour, 5,000 RPM in 6th gear. And this revs up to a maximum of 12,000. It holds its own quite nicely. I've got good visibility still. It's a very windy day and I'm not being blown all over the road. I can feel the wind, but that's more of a sound than anything else. Very comfortable, very easy to ride, so simple. Flick it round the corners and round the roundabouts without any drama. It doesn't feel heavy at all. Not really sure I can come up with anything negative really, apart from the little niggles, but I shall highlight those when we get back. There we go, round the corner. Yeah. Is he going to get my way? Of course he is. Alright, let's put it in, leave it in 5th. Oh yes, easy. I'm very impressed, I have to say. When you hear how much money it is, I think you'll be impressed too. The little niggles that I've got are really just little niggles. There's nothing major. I'm not concerned about anything. There's nothing so far on this ride that makes me think, do you know what, that's horrible. Nothing at all. As I say, there's only 24 miles on the clock now, and this has taken this corner really, really simply. I've got great confidence on these tyres. It's nice and smooth. You've got no dramas about lifting the weight back up. It powers out of the corner well enough. And all I can do is hope you can hear me well enough, as the wind is really slamming into my helmet now, to the state where I'm struggling to hear myself talk. Yeah, impressed. Okay, I think now it's time to go back to the yard and we'll sum up. Oh yeah, even to the state where I thought, if I lean over anymore, am I going to catch my feet on the floor? I didn't, so I had no problem leaning over. But the tyres are really, really good. These Metzler Roadtech tyres are very good indeed. Grip rail, oh, power out now into 6th. Yes, wow, I like that. This is nice. And I should imagine once this has run in well, there'll be absolutely no problems whatsoever. I mean, obviously, I ride my adventure bike is a 1200cc triple. So to compare it to that is very difficult. But it's really holding up well. Now, I don't want you to misunderstand me and think, oh, the wind deflector's not doing its job, because I really do think it is. And I would wager that if that deflector wasn't there, my head would be doing this wobble, 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 wobble. But it isn't. It's just noise, and I think it's because it's a particularly windy day today. But other than that, I'm not being buffeted around all over the place. I think these deflectors and this screen really does a good job. And the noise, as I say, just comes from the fact that today is actually quite windy. But I've got nothing bad, really, to say about a lot of this bike. Tiny niggles, which I shall highlight when we get back. But other than that, I'm actually really impressed. I love the way it rides. It's very comfortable. Would I swap my 1200 Triumph for it? Well, that's a difficult thing to say, because obviously the Triumph's in a different league. One, because it's almost twice the engine size, and two, it's a Triumph Explorer. I don't need a 1200, I just like it. If I didn't have that Triumph, this would be a fantastic bike to have. It's twice as powerful as the Zontis, which I do love. I love the sound of that twin. Okay, the exhaust could do with sprucing up a bit, but that's aftermarket stuff. Other than that, it's a brilliant bike. As a daily commuter, I think it is absolutely fantastic. Whether you're on long journeys, whether you are taking short to work journeys, or just pottering around at the weekend, something like that, I don't think you'd have any worries with the power, the feel, the ride. It comes with two panniers, you can get your shopping in it if you need to. Really pretty impressed.
Turning around in the road is just not possible. It's a little bit top heavy for slow turn maneuvers, and the lock just isn't there, so it can't be done, unfortunately. Riding standing up, not a problem. Riding normal roads, not a problem. But you want to do turns in this narrow little road, it isn't happening. It's just a little bit too heavy. Right, to sum up downsides, well, the switches do feel a little bit cheap. I mean, they're not horrendously cheap, but they just feel a bit sort of clunky. Maybe I'm being a bit fussy, but yeah, I mean, they are switch gears, let's be honest, they do a job, but maybe just the odd switch feels a bit cheap. Again, when you reveal the price, or when you hear the price, I think it'll be a small minor thing. Also, the quality of the finish on some of the welds here and here, and the quality of the finish on the bars could be a little bit improved, I feel. And here. And I would have thought perhaps on something very prominent and visible they would have used some at least black nuts, and perhaps some countersunk ones with some nicer finish on the back here, just to finish that off. And the gear lever seems deep and a little bit clunky. However, there is an adjustment on this arm here, and it changes gear well without issue. Other than that, it's torquey, It's got plenty of grunt. The ride is very smooth and enough power for what you need it for. These never really had an issue with the power. They've certainly got it where they need it. Top speed's about 150 and 120, but 0 to 60 is sort of in the 4-second range, and that is certainly fast enough for a 650 off-roady type bike. The handling is superb. As I say, despite the initial sound of the weight, 218 kilos, the handling is fantastic and it's weighted really well. I love the way it takes corners, I love the way it powers through, and I certainly had no issues with taking it round bends whatsoever. Other than that, as you saw in the video there, the dash is very easy and simple to see. You've got an easy viewable rev counter, your miles per hour there and your gear indicator there, and like the other things we said on the test ride, your ABS light, which you can't see from that angle, but it's very visible down there. Obviously that goes off when you start riding, and your gear neutral lights and petrol etc. here, and your adjustment on here. Very simple, very basic, no frills, but it's pretty enough. You've got your USB port there as well, so you can put your sat nav off if you want to. Sat nav off, sat nav on, and yeah, it's a nice, easy, sleek design. No messing around, no things getting in the way. I like how they've bundled these around the back here. They don't get in the way. They're nicely finished off. They're not cheap, and they're not nasty. That's very nicely designed indeed. As far as the looks are concerned, I think they've got it absolutely spot on. I love the design of it, and that is thanks to the Austrian team Kiska, the team behind KTM Design. So they've certainly got it right in that department. It's little subtle things. You've got little accents in here, and I love the way the design flows down here and up across the seat. Beautiful. The only thing that lets it down is the exhaust, this mild steel and painted exhaust with this mild steel box underneath. Is that mild steel? I don't know, it's hard to tell because it's painted. Now the front part is stainless, so why couldn't you do that all the way through? But other than that, there's no real issues. Now perhaps this massive box is the reason why they couldn't put a centre stand on it, because where would you mount the thing? I love this swing arm, aluminium swing arm, very beautifully designed, and I love this sort of mottled hammerite look, stone finish on there. Very nice indeed. Everything else beautifully sculptured, well put together. The gaps are just right. There's no nasty bits hanging off. I don't really have anything negative to say at all about the design, the way it's put together, other than this chintzy exhaust pipe. Should have stuck with stainless. But despite that, it still looks stunning, and the sound is superb, as you may have heard in that video. I love the sound of a twin. I wonder if it would have sounded a bit better through a stainless tailpipe. I guess we'll never know. Unless, of course, there is an aftermarket one for it. And I don't necessarily mean the one that we made for the 650 TT that I used to have. Remember that? If not, have a look back through the videos and you'll see what we did to that. However, the guy I sold it to absolutely loved it. So if I can take this opportunity to show you inside these shad boxes, once you've unlocked them, you just push that and then lift the little handle underneath, and there they open. Very nice. I like this little tray that you get in here and the straps. Very good quality boxes, easy to close, easy to shut, easy to lock. Very nice. Now, despite the little niggles I may have pointed out, when you take into account that this bike is just £5,799 on the road, with now a 4-year parts and labour warranty, seems pretty good value, doesn't it? Especially when you consider that the Kawasaki Versys 650 with panniers is now £8,000 plus on the road costs. Seems good value now, doesn't it? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, all the little niggly tiny bits just fade into insignificance. And I think Mr. Seagull up there agrees with me. Oh, now you're quiet. So what about servicing? Well, first service is 500 miles, and then it's every 3,000 miles after that. In comparison to the Kawasaki Versys, the first service is 621 miles, and then every 7,500. So yes, okay, it is further apart, but does that justify an extra 2.5 grand on top? I don't think it does. And that brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining me. Please come back next time when we'll be with 2 new liquid-cooled bikes from Hanway. Yes, Hanway is back with a vengeance, so stay tuned for those. And also, we'll be back with a development on the track car front. And I've got my next track bike evening booked, so stay tuned for that as well. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. If you have this bike already, please let me know and what you think of it. Do you have the predecessor? Do you have the Kawasaki Versys? And no, I'm sorry, I haven't compared the two side by side because I don't have a Kawasaki Versys readily available. If you have, then please let me know what you thought of those and any other comments you want to make about this bike in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow us on social media. Check out our Facebook page and our Instagram, and I post little things on there. If you want to support this channel, please take a look at our Patreon. The link is in the description below. If you want any merchandise, please look in our shop link below as well. And that's all I have to say. So until next time, please ride and drive carefully, but have fun. Bye-bye.